schedule some additional discussions.
Actually, I got a note here, Tom, that we can accommodate it on our March 3rd meeting.
I'm just not certain that gives department heads enough time to respond to that information, and also doesn't give the board much time to evaluate it in our office.
Well, I don't think it's any reason we have to have a special meeting. I think we can, the following meeting would be sufficient.
I think that's up to your board if you want to. I'm just telling you your options, that the 10th is not a scheduled board meeting. And then a couple other things that we talked about fees earlier, and it would be very helpful, and I know several board members have discussed it with me about hiring someone to specifically look at fees. With the staff shortages that we have, the sheriff has had a number of initiatives. We've tried to find a consultant to help us generate those fees, but just as we're chartering new ground in the sheriff area, we have some new ground in the agricultural area, the weights and measures for fees, and also some new fees in other departments that we're proposing that would be helpful. We're continuing to work with those departments and find somebody to fill that. I appreciate the auditor assisting with the sheriff in the interim, but we do have a lot of things that we could engage on if we had some staff to do that. A couple of other items relating...
Tom, I'm personally opposed to hiring a staff person, another hiree to do that. I think we can do that. The auditor just said she could handle that. So.
She's going to work on the specific ones. I'm just letting the board know that that's a real challenge, because these are areas where we're not talking about increasing a fee that we previously had. We're really starting from ground zero, because there are ordinances that need to be done, in some cases for the weights and measures. I'm just appraising the board that there's a lot of work to do when you enter into a new fee that we haven't previously had before. So it was only intended to appraise your board of what was going on. In going down my list here, you know, the sheriff talked about some things that he's doing. Some things he didn't talk about was that he's making bread now in the kitchen as a cost-saving measure. We're looking at going forward there. We've talked about increasing the farming activity out there. There is the outstanding issue. The sheriff did ask about the staffing in Covelo. I thought the understanding was we wouldn't staff until next year's budget, but I think that request was out from the sheriff. We didn't give him a specific answer to that. Also, department heads meet once a week now. We have a budget leadership team where they all participate in. So I want to assure your board that there is a leadership team that's looking at all of these various issues. They're all working together, trying to come up with solutions. So I just want to let you know they are actively engaged in doing that. And finally, $250,000 of our problem that we identified could have been taken care of if those bargaining units that we were unwilling to negotiate with us, in the same spirit that the other bargaining units did. I do not think you can take that lightly, that there's $250,000 shortfall that we're experiencing, that all other county departments are having to bear additional costs because we had two bargaining units that would not participate with helping us solve this problem. And I think that has to be said in those kind of strong terms, that it is so unfortunate that people do not realize, yes, everybody is working harder. Everybody is working with less staff. It doesn't help solve the problem when you get a couple of bargaining units that take the approach that they're above everybody else. And that concludes my comments.
And so noted. Supervisor Brown.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I think we need to get the side letters of agreement approved. And if my colleagues support this, for McLima and also DSA to retry another meeting with them to see where they may be coming from.
Well, they know the proposal. They can come forward.
Well, we're already still continuing the discussions with DSA, and it's McLima and the Public Attorneys Association.
Oh, sorry, that you're correct.
Okay.
And any further discussions in those regards would be under closed session labor negotiations.
Okay, the side letters. What do we need to do here on these side letters? I'm going by this charge on the wall here.
Let's go.
County Council. What do we need to do on these side letters?
It's my understanding there's a resolution to adopt the side.
resolution for each one of the tentative agreements and the side letters, and I wasn't clear on when you wanted to take that action, so.
Well, given that we have not seen them yet,
Yeah, be nice to see them.
Okay, we'll adjourn to closed session, then we'll come back out and review those when we come back, or do we have to do that today? Maybe
well,
we-
and was there any further action we were going to try to get
No.
through today?
Oh, wait, don't we have
Because we
Mr.,
still have one more section. that-
we have the Air Quality Management District consent calendar, or did we do that?
Well, we also didn't go through the
We
last.
approved the that was
We did
altogether.
that?
Yeah.
We didn't do our review of the budget commitments and priorities for 09-10.
Well, in a way, I think we did.
Actually, my suggestion would be that unless you had time today, which I assume you don't, that it be rescheduled and continued to
Yeah.
your next meeting, because that's a whole separate
We have to go into
discussion.
closed session, and we need to get those side letters approved today.
Just to the chair, I would really strongly recommend that we absolutely hear from the department heads with the budget shortfall on March 3rd. Because the way I see it, and actually the dollars line up this way, we've only fulfilled half of our responsibility here today in hopefully giving the authority that will help
Okay, we can,
Mr. Chair.
HHSA balance the budget. So we still have this huge budget gap that we're responsible for closing. So I think March 3rd, we need to hear from those departments, digest that information, look at all the options, and then this board needs to make a decision on how we're going to bridge that gap.
okay, let me further define this then. Do we want to bring the sheriff back in when he's already told us that he can't reduce his budget?
Sure, they all should come back with their written proposals. Everyone that's, I
But is
think,
the sheriff going to be able to tell us anything in 3 weeks? Different?
next week, March 3rd.
Excuse me.
Jennifer?
For clarification purposes, can the executive office get a show of consensus on that direction, please?
That's what we're trying to come up with here. What departments are we talking about? We're talking about planning and building,
We're-
sheriff.
Can we
The other-
just say it's any department that's over $10,000, just say,
Well, I don't.
it is
let's-
whatever it is, and
we're-
they
we're-
can
If
figure
we're
it
going to
out.
make a motion, we're going to get it exact, so everybody knows.
We can just give direction. But they need to come in and explain how they're going to bridge the gap.
And that's basically it.
Grand jury,
Grand jury,
auditor,
grand jury.
there are about 5 of them, but they all know who. They can tell, that's what staff does. They'll be the ones to.
Okay, do we want to give direction to come, for those departments that are over $10,000 projected overrun in our 08-09 budget to come back on the March 3rd with a short presentation and a plan to close their budget deficit?
Yeah.
Does everybody agree to that?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Tom?
We're having a little trouble with our microphones here today. Tom Mitchell, Chief Executive Officer. If I might add to that request, since, again, we have some bargaining units that are not participating in those discussions, even though 2 of those budgets for the attorneys are coming in below net county cost at this time because of the fact they are not participating in the program that everybody else, I would suggest we add those to the list and talk about those budgets too.
That would be district attorney and,
That would be district attorney and the public defender and an alternative defender.
okay.
Because,
Got
Does everybody agree to that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's to be the direction. Supervisor McCown?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I just have some concerns that we're starting to back up the budget process a little because